It's Wednesday night, and you know what that means. We had a fucking stacked card of Dynamite. The only thing that really was missing was the baddies and
Hmm.
Hookhausen. Although there was a commercial
Mostly
that was
because.
completely dedicated to Hook.
Yeah, yeah, they got some kind of recognition. Nothing about my baddies though.
I mean, we did get Stokely, and he did talk about Jade.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
It was more in the program than the Hook reference.
Yeah,
That was
I
just
mean that
me.
was an important segment though.
All right, so you missed what, the first two matches?
I think so.
So I am going to take the lead on writing down the first one for you. Unfortunately, part of it got ruined for you later in the night because I was looking so forward to ruining your whole night. I really, really was. Anyway, so we start off with actually the Jericho versus Ortiz matchup. Hair versus hair. You know, it's Dynamite, it's AEW. They like to You have that ladder match. You have the hair versus hair match. One of them's opening the show off strong. Regal's on commentary. All of Jericho Appreciation Society came out with Jericho. Ortiz came out seemingly alone, but really he was just walking super fast and he ran down and charged at Jericho. Eddie Kingston was so far behind him you didn't even know that he was there, and all of a sudden you see him at ringside a minute later. Um, Nothing too crazy. One of the bigger spots of it, Jericho actually hit a suplex from the ring apron down to the floor. Eddie was so hyped up at ringside, it was crazy. Eventually, there ended up being a brawl leading up to blood and guts. Right, both teams. Jericho actually, Eddie got in the ring. He hit Jericho with a spinning back fist. Jericho actually kicked out of it. After during all the chaos, Fuego del Sol slides in and has Floyd the Bat, and he hits Ortiz. Then he turns around and Jericho pins Ortiz. Everyone's like, "What the fuck?" Jericho and them they're escaping up the ramp, and next thing you know, pulls off the Fuego mask. It's Sammy. Three of the
Sammy,
original
Sammy.
three of the original Inner Circle members are back together in Jericho Appreciation Society. You
Yes.
Scows, if you're still there, it should be gone. It's when I just first opened it up, when we first went live before we actually started, just because the OBS did not let me change it after the fact. Um, Shit, my notes went all the way to the bottom. After that, we got up to, well, Ortiz actually started doing his hair by himself. Cut it off, started shaving it. He cut himself. He was bleeding a little bit from the forehead, and he was just yelling blood and guts up the ramp. Next, we had the Wardlow versus the 20 playoffs matchup.
Okay, yeah.
I am going to take a minute because there's not a whole lot here. You know, they did the whole Wardlow being overwhelmed, power spots, blah, blah, blah. But the match made me mad. They started doing the thing where he was able to slam down a bunch of them and do multiple pins at one time. The
Hmm.
problem is, he was pinning these guys, but they were not laying on their backs at all. He'd have the guy on the bottom on his back, then the person on top of him would be on his stomach, like he was covering him. Then the next guy would be on his stomach. That is not a pin. Their shoulders were pinned down to nothing. He would like three different times he would pin four, five, or six people at one time, but only one of them would have their shoulders to the mat. That is the biggest complaint. After that, because they were leading up to, remember, he wants the TNT title. Um, Dan Lambert up in the suites gets on the microphone. He doesn't say a whole lot. It ends pretty quick. He just yells. Tells Woodley and Matt Hughes, former UFC champs, to go get Wardlow. They get in the ring. Wardlow just goes, "Hey, you guys are good Midwestern boys, just like me. I know you don't want to take orders from some rich asshole. You don't want to do it." They turned around and grabbed Mark Sterling and fed him to Wardlow for one last power bomb on the night.
Yay, done with that.
You might be done with the plaintiffs, but now you move on to Dan Lambert.
Woo!
And this is where you got here, and I'll let you take over for a minute because next was the video promo for Mox versus Tanahashi, basically saying this match is 3 years in the making.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't really even take notes on that promo.
I
It
got a
was
little bit
just
on Mox's side. I don't know what happened before that with Tanahashi coming out and all that.
yeah, like the video promo. I got really nothing out of that because there's nothing that's not really stated.
After that, I just came in and it
But
was Mox already talking.
yeah,
Basically,
but
just says there's only one ace.
yeah, that was during the promo that's after the match, the after the Dax and Will Ospreay match. Yes, yeah. Next was the Dax Harwood versus Will Ospreay match.
I'm sorry because there's so many freaking notes. Somehow it jumped down the whole freaking paragraph on me.
So yeah, we're on that match here. Um, I don't have a ton with this one either. Osprey, this is my first time getting to see him do something in a singles match. Really like that they paired him with Dax to make him look really good. He's really fast, everywhere, all over the ring. Everything looked pretty clean because Dax is just good. Um, but I loved a lot of the spots in here that Dax got as well. That quintuple suplex from Dax.
Then we
My
hit the
back is
five
hurting just
German
thinking about
suplexes.
that. Yeah.
But not only that, but like fast forward another minute after he wrapped that up, he had the release one where he
Yeah, that nice
launched Will
release
across the
suplex.
ring
That
with
was a
the
really nice release. Yeah.
um I haven't seen a release German like that in a while, and it was crazy. The only other thing that I really saw until you get towards right at the end was early on in the match, Osprey did a baseball slide underneath Dax's legs to the outside of the ring, and he went to trip him up, and Dax's leg went in between the apron and the ring, and it was not supposed to. It was awkward, and he like landed right on his knee. I was really surprised I didn't see his knee really bothering him throughout the rest of the
Yeah.
match.
That would have been it for me. My knees, I would have been done just landing like that. Mm. But I guess that's why he's got those shocks that he's got attached to his legs. Got it. Yeah, yeah,
You look at Chet.
yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, yeah, Scales. We both thought the same thing.
I was waiting instantly to see him just go down. Like I thought he was going to react kind of how Britt faked injury later in the match or later in the night. I was just waiting for it to be ugly. Um there was
Then there was that counter fest.
Yeah, that's where I was going because I don't even know how to describe the one thing that happened where like Will he
the
counters something with kind of like how The Rock used to do the float over DDT, but Will did it like his whole body like a spider to the other side of the body and landed perfectly in power bomb position.
Yeah,
That might have been the smoothest thing of the night, to be honest. I just don't even know. But
the back body drop.
they made each other look great because that springboard Liger bomb that Dax hit on Will Ospreay, I thought he might have been broken in half because he really did land like
My God, he's broken in half.
it was not his back almost whatsoever.
He's broken in half, by God.
Um,
Yeah, dude.
Dax ended up
That,
kicking out of an Oscutter, which was a little bit surprising, but all that meant is that we get Will Ospreay's newer, worse finishing move to finish the match off, the hidden blade for the win. After that, the
that's what
whole
that's
United
called.
Empire comes down. They're all kind of
Yeah, just an elbow.
paying attention to Dax, like towering over him, intimidating him, and then next thing you know, Cash for Pungy Vice, and eventually we get freshly squeezed Orange Cassidy's music hit, and while everybody else is brawling, he's just himself taking a sweet
It's
ass time to
just
get
yeah,
down to the ring.
gingerly getting down there. That's my guy.
Yeah,
But
he had.
but what he even the odds though, everybody was worried because he might come up there and lightly kick them.
They had their stare down, and then eventually the whole like the AEW slash Roppongi Vice side of things kind of had a. They all kind of had the numbers advantage staring down Will, and he slid out of the ring and he left, and that was really wrapping up that. Up until we get some news regarding them later on in the night.
Yeah, I thought this was setting up like a faction match between all of them for Forbidden Door, but we get something later that we'll talk about.
But they did announce that there was going to be another trios tag team match with him and Aussie Open as well.
Mhm.
Just this time, freshly squeezed or Cassidy with Roppongi Vice. That was Rampage, or was that next week Dynamite?
Next week, Dynamite.
They announced a lot of future matches coming up.
Mhm. Yeah. So then next we get into what he wanted to talk about here with the Moxley and Tanahashi promo.
There's a lot of
So
notes. I'm sorry. I wrote a novel tonight. I took 2 hours and I wrote a goddamn novel about AEW.
okay, jeez.
There's so much.
Yeah. Um, we'll go right into it. Mox is just giving Tanahashi all the praise in the world. Hey, you've been the man for 20 years and blah blah. Yeah. Walking around looking like a tweaker as usual. I swear to you, John Moxley is on some kind of upper because that dude is tweaking hard.
I would
But
totally want to agree with you and make jokes about it, but I'm like, that dude just got out of rehab. That's just
I hope
mean.
not. Oh, okay. Well, I
But it
hope
was for
not then.
alcohol. It was alcohol.
Okay. Alcohol. Surprise. Yeah. But but one thing that I did catch that Moxley said that I thought was pretty cool. He says there's only one man they call the ace, and that's you, but that's not going to be for long. He's basically he says he's the best now. Nobody's going to beat him.
You hit the line I wanted to reference, but there's a part of it before it that just I think is worth mentioning. He says there's a lot of titles all around the wrestling world. There's only one ace, and that's you, Tanahashi. But not for long.
Yeah.
Um, Eventually, Tanahashi goes, well, first we get the typical John Moxley rambling, ranting kind of part of the promo, but he starts to wrap it up. Tanahashi goes to grab the mic from him. There's a little bit of like a power grab, like over the mic for a second, but eventually he has the mic. He's getting ready to say something, and Judas hits.
Yeah.
Jericho does not come out with Jericho Society at first. He's flanked by Sammy and Tay.
Yay.
I will be honest
Go
though, when
Jim.
he pulled off the mask earlier in the night, it wasn't like a oh I'm sick of him. I was like, it was more of an actual anger. I was like, man, why the fuck's it got to be that dude? So I don't know if that's a good or bad thing because it wasn't like the boredom go away, but I actually was hating him.
Okay. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, Chris Jericho comes out here. He takes the mic. He takes the time to start talking. Basically, he says if he had competed last week, everybody knows that he would have won, so he should be the one getting that shot for that title. Um,
Said the last time that I saw Tanahashi, he actually beat Tanahashi.
yeah, okay, yeah, he did. Yeah, he beat. Yeah, that's what he said. He said he beat Tanahashi,
But
and
the
then he calls out the dogs.
Yep, the only thing that really happened after that of importance is he goes to send them down to attack, but it's not really them who attack. You get Desperado and Lance Archer, which are part of Suzuki Goon, slide in the ring and they attack from behind. They're beating up on Ace and Moxley, and Jericho's just in there introducing and talking about and Tay joining, and now there's the three sex gods. I'm like, okay, whatever. Well, you just see attack going on in the background.
But Chris Jericho is a wizard. Okay, he's the wizard sex god.
But he got interrupted, so I'm not sure what we're missing here because he says Suzuki Goon are just on loan, but it's going to be him, Sammy, Desperado, and Lance Archer, the four of them at Forbidden Door against Wheeler Yuta, Shota. Do you remember how to say it?
Yep, Shota Umino
Okay. Eddie Kingston. And as soon
Kingston.
as he says Eddie's name, Eddie runs out. He's attacking, and then the others come
Yeah,
out. And yeah, there's
I
just a big
didn't
brawl.
hear a fourth name on either side. I'm. I thought he. It sounded like a 3-on-3 match.
I thought it was him, Sammy, then the two Suzuki Goon guys,
So
Lance Archer and Desperado.
no, he said Minoru Suzuki himself, because he said Minoru Suzuki
No, he
himself and Sammy
leads the
Guevara.
faction of Suzuki Goon. So he says like he loaned them over to him.
Hmm.
That's what I got out of it. But there was still either way four on one side from what I gathered, three on the other. So I don't know if maybe they're just waiting to see if Danielson's healthy. No, because Danielson, the expectation is Zack Sabre Jr.
Yeah,
So doesn't really matter. End up Eddie when he came out also came out. Wheeler, Yuta, or Bald, Ortiz, and Santana came out. They all kind of cleaned up and let Ace kind of do the final cleanup before they had the face off with Moxley. Are you looking it up?
yeah. I'm trying to see if I can find it.
All right, so while you're doing that, I'll just recap the next video package while you're looking at it. Because the next thing was just Darby Red Dragon video promo once again, kind of talking because he's pissed off that Kyle O'Reilly and all them injured Sting. He says this Friday night he's going to do the same thing back. He basically just outright says he wants to break Bobby Fish's leg on Rampage this Friday night. Nothing too crazy, just kind of the same motivation as why he wanted revenge on Kyle O'Reilly. After that, Tony Storm got to say the most words that she said in AEW so far, as she had an interview with Tony Schiavone. Says Britt's a doctor. She studies. She's smart. Too smart to play these silly games or whatever. She goes on to kind of talk about what it takes to be a champion, championship criteria, that kind of stuff. But she ends with saying the people want to see Tony Storm as champ. I would like to see an ounce of emotion from you. Some kind of personality. Anything.
Trios match.
What do you got?
Uh, let's see here. Archer. Wait. Huh? Okay, yeah, they just didn't say who the last person was.
I wonder if they're just kind of waiting to kind of see between injuries and who else is available because there's a few
No,
people
okay.
who have
Wait
been
a minute.
pulled off the show. Like there's going to be a no Andrade, there's going to be
Archer.
no Lucha Bros, there's going to be I believe Max
No,
Cass.
okay, I was reading this wrong. Yeah, I was right. It's Minoru Suzuki himself, Chris Jericho, Sammy Guevara against Wheeler Yuta, Shota Umino, and Eddie Kingston. Yeah, it's a trios match.
It's fucking weird.
Yeah, there we go. So I was like, I heard that right.
I just remember when he was talking, he said something like it's gonna be all of us. Like he said like an us thing. Like he didn't actually name his team.
Yeah, but no, he said Minoru Suzuki. He did say that they were on loan, but he didn't say they were in the match.
Right. But I
So
heard
they're
him
just
say
like his
Suzuki's
dogs.
name, but when I heard him say Suzuki's name, was saying that he had talked to the leader of Suzuki Gun, Minoru Suzuki, to have them on loan. I heard him like reference him as the
Yeah, that was
leader of the
before.
faction. I never heard
Yeah,
him
that was
after.
before he mentioned the match. Yeah,
Gotcha.
so cool. So
Your
there we
fa-
go. So we got a match
your favorite
determined there, and
wrestler
then
was next.
my favorite. Yeah, I don't have any animosity towards Ethan Page. It's just that he runs with Dan Lambert, and I'm tired of looking at that guy.
I think you'll like him a lot better when he eventually gets his Fuck
I
Ohio
won't.
State T-shirt.
I don't think he's ever going to get one.
Welcome to the state of Michigan, Ethan Page. Get yourself a Fuck Ohio State T-shirt.
It is kind of customary. God, I'm so embarrassed.
But this
Yeah, this is
match
an
wasn't
all
anything.
Atlantic championship qualifier match. Not a whole lot to it. Page, of course, has to play dirty to stay in the match. Of course, and that gets him the advantage. At one point here, which is really the turning point of the match, Ethan Page has Miro down on his knees and he has Miro's hands together and he says, "Pray to me." And Miro, of course, at that point just completely turns the match around and destroys him and pretty much ends it after a couple more moves.
Legitimately, like an overhead belly to belly suplex, and then another belly to belly throw, a kick, game over, win, done.
Don't mess with Miro's God, okay? That's all.
Hmm.
Don't mess with Miro's God. So Miro moves on. I can't remember who he's going to be facing.
I know they said the next match that they advertised was the Penta versus Malachi,
Yes. Penta versus Malachi is the next match.
and we have Miro moved on,
Mhm.
Pac moved on, so that's going to be the third. We're not missing one, have we?
No,
Okay,
no,
so
I think they said Penta and Malachi is the third one.
yeah, so considering Forbidden Door is not that far away, so let's see, we have so 11 days away. So we're gonna have Rampage, Dynamite, Rampage. So we have three more shows to knock out two more matches. So not too long.
Yeah, the card's starting to fill up though. Well, we have at least a few matches now,
Hmm.
whereas we still weren't certain of anything a little while ago.
Well, one thing that we're sure of is that John Moxley is going to be fighting for the AEW title, well, interim AEW title at Forbidden Door, but
Yes.
on Friday night, we find out through a Dante Martin video promo. I mean, they might have announced it before, but Friday night, Dante versus Moxley.
Yep. Yep. Dante is facing Moxley.
Dante's losing.
He's yeah. He says he's ready to lead the company while Moxley's, gone. Basically, is I don't know if he's going to Japan to do stuff too or whatever.
I think
But I
that was
did.
more of a future thing, saying like he's the star of the future.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay. I thought he meant like he was going to go to Japan and it was his turn
Because
while he's
before that,
gone or whatever.
Dante was said he started hearing the word potential. He says a star is born this Friday. So it's just, I think he's just saying like once you're gone, like it's his company. He has to, he's next.
Like that he's calling himself inhuman now. I don't know if he was doing that at any point before, but inhuman, that's cool.
It just makes me think of failed Marvel TV shows. That's I and that's just me and just what I know. So I was like, well, that's a failure of a name.
Mm, yeah. But up next here is a match between Britt Baker, DMD, and Tony Storm. This was, of course, Tony Storm's grudge match, as she had dropped that promo earlier about how Britt is dirty and it's going to be Tony that carries the women's division. But basically, she had to, yeah, yeah. But basically, she had to get the one smudge off of her record, which was losing to Britt Baker. So we kind of already knew where this match was going. But through that, I want my Britt Baker to win. But at one point, Jamie Hayter interfered. Thunder Rosa came running down, chased her away from ringside. So Tony has only one person to interfere in the match for the rest of the way. Um, I honestly didn't pay attention to how it happened because I knew it was happening. Tony Storm got the win. Thunder Rosa comes out, stands at the top of the entrance ramp, gives her the thumbs up, like, I approve. Now let's fight.
And Tony Storm still showed no personality. Um,
Yeah.
so the only things
Yeah,
I caught from this match that mattered, okay, Jamie's interference when she did it before Thunder Rosa came out was the most blatant thing ever. She like reached in, grabbed her feet, and then pulled Tony completely out of the ring to the floor. It was the most blatant thing
mhm.
ever. Um, Tony hit a tornado DDT from inside of the ring, kind of like through the ropes, and took her down to the floor and DDT'd her on the floor. Um, at one point, she did the hip attack in the corner where Britt sold a head injury very, very well.
I would
Um,
like a hip attack.
but it was just playing possum. But yeah, Tony just with her Storm Zero, which I honestly think looks terrible, like that polling like package kind of pile driver. I'm not a big fan of it, but yep, Tony wins. Obviously, getting the push, like leading towards her match with Thunder Rosa, which
Yeah, which I'm assuming she's going to win.
the only thing I want to know is when will Jade lose the TBS title? Because I'm just waiting for the day that either Jade, even though I don't think she's anywhere close ready, in ring, or Britt to be champion once again. Because unfortunately, every single women's championship reign that was not Britt Baker was not good.
Yeah, see, the only champs I've seen are Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa, and Britt Baker has been a hell of a lot better. Nothing like no knocks against Thunder Rosa because she just kind of hasn't gotten the time.
She
But
just isn't DMD.
yeah, yeah, she's just not DMD.
When you can get three, like an appreciation over for the crowd to chant all the time for you, like
Yeah,
there's not many. I'm not sure if there's a single person you can undoubtedly say is more over than Britt Baker in that company. But like head and shoulders, I don't know. She's especially if you have her back at home, just like everybody else when they're at home, she's huge, but she gets the pops everywhere.
yeah, yeah. She's massive. But the crowd definitely, you could hear the crowd didn't want her to lose that match.
Mhm.
I didn't want her to lose that match,
I
but
got to
knew
enjoy
it
a little
had to
bit of,
happen.
and during the picture in picture, she went to the turnbuckle and we got the I was like, why's it gotta be doing picture in picture so I can't hear anything go along with it? Why? The next thing that we had, though, was a very short interview promo backstage thing, which I'm just going to let you have fun
Very
with.
important.
Have at it.
So, unfortunately, I'm going to get it right out of the way. There are no baddies in sight today. No baddies on the show. But Stokely Hathaway does come out for a promo, and he's letting everybody know that Jade has got an open challenge going. Any woman that's willing to challenge her for that TBS championship, she's willing to accept it. So in comes my girl Willow Nightingale. Woo! Woo! All right. So Willow pops in. Stokely says, "Oh, so you want to be one of the baddies? Okay, that's cool." And she was like, "No, I don't want to be a baddie. I want the belt." So she wants that shot at Jade. So we are going to get a match between Willow Nightingale and Jade Cargill. And is that on Rampage?
Yeah, it was a
That's
open
happening.
challenge for Friday.
Yeah, and that's going to be on Rampage. So the two loves of my life are going to be fighting it out for my love. I mean, for the championship on Rampage. I'm stoked. No play on Stokely.
I'm just curious that once we get to our Friday show, what will your reaction be? Will you be torn? Will you be happy? Will you just be completely speechless? Like,
So, because of what I know, I just want Willow to look really good in a loss. Because obviously, it's just going to be there for Athena to jump in again.
mm, the numbers game
Like
with the
let
baddies.
Willow get her shine before you bring out Athena. That's all I ask.
Let her almost overcome the numbers during the match, and then when there's like a post match beatdown, then have the help arrive.
Yeah, yeah, there we go. But yeah, that's the biggest thing going in wrestling right now. Jade Cargill versus Willow Nightingale on Friday. Main event. Should be main event.
Well, the next thing we
It's my
had,
main event.
the next thing that we had is stuff that will definitely allude to a number of main events in the future. Um, because it was the Hangman in-ring promo, which of course means it's going to cycle back to what he said about wanting Okada, the champion, and his shit going down with Adam Cole and Jay White. But I will give it credit. It got a laugh out of me because it was very natural. It wasn't like a planned line or a joke, but Hangman comes out and he calls himself a dumbass because he
Yeah,
challenged Okada for the belt right before Okada had a defense in which he lost the belt. Now, I wasn't sure what he meant with the next part, but considering where the rest of the promo went, it kind of filled in the blank because he just said the challenge still stands. Does that mean
hmm
you still want Okada or the challenge for the championship still stands? Because the way he challenged Okada made it seem like it was a bigger deal for him to fight Okada than it was necessarily the championship. But considering everything that happened after with Adam Cole and the things that were said, it became obvious it's more about him and the new IWGP World Title picture.
yeah. So yeah, Cole comes out and he says if anybody's going to be challenging for the belt, it's going to be him, because this is going to be like an all Bullet Club, all and undisputed elite show. He's
Says, yeah. After that, he just basically says Okada won't be at the pay per view, but he goes to introduce somebody who will, which is when Jay White slides in the ring from behind, hits a Blade Runner, and then he starts to talk, which is when things actually get a bit more interesting story wise. Um,
yeah,
first, or he said a number of things before, but the very beginning of it was punctuated by him saying he's 2-0 against Hangman Adam Page, so why would Adam Page get a title shot? Then it says sorry to Adam Cole because he's not getting one either. He's the champion. He has the power. It's the Switchblade era, and Adam Cole's just sitting there on the stage like confused, like WTF, like what are you
Yeah,
doing? And Jay White just doesn't give a fuck.
yeah. So yeah, we don't know what's going to be happening with that, which dope. I'm cool with that.
um, I got bad news. Oh, never mind. There it goes. Somehow I accidentally opened up a new note, and all my notes are gone. Thankfully,
Mm-hmm.
there's only like one thing left, but
I
I
was
got
going
them
to say
back.
we got one match, got one thing left to go. Our main event, our trios tag team. No, I'm just kidding.
What was supposed to be a triple
What
threat
was
tag
supposed to
team
be a
ladders
triple
match
threat tag match. Jeff, I hope you get that. I hope
Nope.
you. I hope you get it all straightened out, man. Because we love you. But so we end up getting the Young Bucks versus Jurassic Express in a ladder match for the title. This was I thoroughly enjoyed it. It's kind of what you expected to happen between the two of these teams.
With these teams, yes.
Yeah. Like with these two teams, this is exactly what you expect. A lot of Nick and Jungle Boy flying around. Um, Luchasaurus took a whole lot of hits
At one
because he
point
wasn't flying around.
early on in the match, there was like three different table spots within 30 seconds.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they were
This
moving
is
around, knocking a lot out. And you know what? That would be fine if it was one of those big ass like 8-person ladder matches. But no, this was two teams. So
yeah,
to have that many ladder spots in such a short time period was quick
yeah.
because Jungle Boy did his
This match
assisted
moves so
Hurricane
fast.
Rana over the top rope to Matt, sending him through a ringside table. He went to do it to
Mhm.
Nick, but Nick caught him and power bombed him through a table. I'm not sure how he ended up there very quick because taking notes and stuff. But only seconds later, Nick is doing a 450 from the top rope to Luchasaurus through a table on the outside. And then we go to a commercial break.
Yeah, yeah. That's what I had the first 5 minutes of this match. Just go fall through table, through table, through a table, into a ladder, into a ladder. Crazy though,
Um,
crazy stuff. But after the commercial break, it kind of starts to move a little bit slower, more methodically. Like it's going to get to a conclusion soon.
it's a ladder
Um,
match. They should be hurting.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So you get the whole spot where everybody climbs up ladders together, and then they fight on top of the ladders. You have to have one of those in every ladder match.
This is where I actually thought they might have initially messed up the table spot to the outside, and maybe
Hmm.
the ladder was just short. Because when this happened, it was about 5 minutes towards the end. So I was like,
Okay.
I don't know, we're getting close to the end. Maybe they're just going to reset up and do it again and try to move it. But no, they did the thing where the ladder falls and both the Young Bucks land like neck first and head on top of the ring ropes.
Oh yeah, that was when they went for the BTE trigger on top of the ladder.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, it seemed like that's what the tables were there for, but that was not what the tables were there for.
They were especially certain that they lined it up well when it came to the table spot to the outside. Because the
Yeah.
entire time that Luchasaurus is back in the ring setting up the ladder, he's sitting there. Let's say here's the center of the ring, and he's setting up the ladder. As opposed to looking up at the belt or towards more towards the center, he's looking the outside, like moving the ladder, moving the ladder. starts climbing and everything. He's looking the entire time he's setting up this ladder.
Yeah.
He looks at the tables, so it became
Yeah, he was letting everybody know he was going through those tables.
yep. At this point, Nick, all of this part of Nick Jackson's face is completely red with blood. They um during the commentary they were like maybe broken nose, maybe a busted lip, but it's all in this area underneath his nose around his mouth.
Yeah. Yeah, he was bloodied up all over because like he had those like big almost looking those welts that almost looked like he was about to bleed through on his back too. Whew. Yeah, he got
Couple
beat up for this match.
Yeah, probably landing on like the corners of the ladders, kind of hitting
Yeah,
that part. Yep. But it
like he's
wasn't
about to be hurting.
a long after that they hit the BT trigger on Jungle Boy, go up, and they get the tag titles.
Yeah.
Now, before we get
Let's
to
go
the
Bucks.
actual end of the show, because there's a little bit more to it.
Let's
Um,
go Bucks.
right here is when they decided to announce that at Forbidden Door we have another match. The returning,
Yeah.
freshly
Yeah.
squeezed Orange
Two
Cassidy
matches.
versus Will Ospreay for the IWGP United States title. The other one I saw, but I did not catch it as much because I was trying to focus on this one.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
is this
The
when they
other match
announced
is
Tony
Tony
and
Storm versus Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's World Championship
yeah, so kind of
at
obvious that that
Forbidden Door.
probably just kind of went whatever.
Yeah. So there was yeah, those two matches. Um but after this match here, the Young Bucks get their celebration. We're all happy for them because I wanted to see them with the belts again. I
Plus to
mean,
just move
I
them
didn't
on.
see them with the belts before, but yeah, it was time for Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus to be done. So yeah, they get their celebration in. Christian is outside, um, trying to take care of Luchasaurus. Young Bucks kind of slowly walk by, staring at them like I think they were like thinking like, man, we should do something evil, but we're too tired and we just won. Let's just take our win and go. So they just walk away. Then Christian decides that he's going to go into the ring and help up Jungle Boy as well, who's limping and he's being helped by somebody from security or um,
Doc Samson.
yeah, that guy. He's being helped up by that guy.
He appears every
So
now and
Christian
then.
goes in to help him as well. Jungle Boy is limping and he's selling it. He's real beat up from that match as well. Uh, the who's that guy? The other guy?
The Doc.
Yeah. So yep, they're both on the Doc. They're both on Christian. Him and Christian are on one side of Jungle Boy. Doc gets out of the ring first, and then Jungle Boy starts getting out of the ring, and then Christian grabs him, and he does
Kill switch.
the kill switch on Jungle Boy because he hates him. Now he puts a chair under his head, and then he goes and grabs another chair, and Jungle Boy is just laying there lifeless. And he hits him over the head with the chair that he's got. So he's made a Jungle Boy head sandwich with that shit, and that kind of made me cringe a little bit.
I know you quit watching a long, long time ago, but I don't remember how long you went to. But it's a move that Edge and Christian used to do before they split, like early 2000s WWE. At
Oh,
first, they started off, they used to swing together and get each side of the head. But then once they kind of went singles, they modified it to be able to do it themselves with the mat.
okay. I didn't. Yeah, I think that was after my wrestling days had stopped.
And it's also a musical reference. It's the concerto.
Mhm.
Um, but after he did that, it looked like he did like the I love you, fallen brother kind of thing because he laid down next to him and kind of like rubbed his head, like his hair all the way. Got up, took off his jacket, which I don't know what the point of it was, but then he
I
just broke
didn't.
down to
I don't
cover
know.
his
I didn't
face.
see it that way.
Which part?
It didn't seem like an "I love you." It was kind of like a "fuck you, goodbye."
Because I didn't see any like anger or malice to it. Like he kind of like
Yeah,
laid
it
and
was
he
more
kind of
like
cupped
a
his head.
mocking. No, it was more of a mocking type of thing, not like a "I love you, but this had to happen" kind of thing. No, it was more like "fuck you, this is all your fault."
See, I didn't take it that way because I didn't really see any animosity in his face after when he was sitting there holding it, and it looked like he cupped his head almost, and he brushed his hair back from the angle that he was at. So it looked like he was just sitting next to him and kind of like holding his head, like
Uh, yeah, I don't know. It felt like he was mocking me. Didn't seem. I didn't feel any kind of love out of that.
now after I wasn't sure about because in wrestling, it's like usually when you take off a clothing article after something, you reveal something, right?
Right.
Like a shirt for a faction you're joining or something like that. He struggled to take off his jacket, but then all he did was like throw it down over Jungle Boy's head. And then he posed as the show ended.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
looking
Yeah. No
angry,
special shirt. It was just a Christian shirt.
not looking angry or anything, just looking like a rat bastard.
Yeah. Yeah. He just turned on Jungle Boy, and now Jungle Boy is going singles, as we thought.
Now, I feel like it's appropriate to possibly kind of go back to what I was thinking before the Hardy Boy situation.
Mhm.
Would this have been a good time to have Christian turn on them in the match? Christian would not have aligned with the Young Bucks. That would make zero sense.
Right.
Eh, Because of their shared history and the type of match, do you think Christian would have possibly helped the Hardys come out on top in this matchup?
Mm, I don't think so.
You think it still would have been after the
I
match and unaffected?
Yeah,
The one
yeah.
reason,
Because I still think the Bucks were gonna win this.
especially after they lost at the pay-per-view, Double or
Yeah,
Nothing, because it,
yeah.
it
Like I
definitely felt
thought it
like it
had
was
to be
coming. It was just a matter of how it happened.
right.
Ooh, guess what we get to do now?
What?
A magical new feature that I made happen. Let me put this overlay up. It's gonna pop up. It's gonna pop up. Boom. If you're watching a stream, it's gonna take a couple of seconds for us. But Mr. Range, what was your hardest
Ooh,
hit of the night?
my hardest hit of the night. It was everything that Miro did.
I
I don't know.
feel
I didn't have a specific move, but just everything looks like it actually hurts when Miro does it.
it's hard. It's kind of a shitty. That was bad
That
timing. Um,
was your hardest hit of the night, all right.
hey, to be fair, it's in the name of the show repeatedly. It's in the logo. It's whatever. Um, Kind of a shitty night to kind of debut that on because it feels like we didn't have any of our normal big ass slaps or kicks or something that just makes you cringe like super bad.
No,
Um, the I guess the one that kind of concerned me the most or looked the most vicious would have probably been the Tony Storm hip attack that made me actually wonder if Britt was hurt the way that was played because that thing was full force.
I would like a full force hip attack. So I would like to have the hardest hit of the night. I'll take it. Oh shit.
Ooh, whenever we get the next All Atlantic tournament matchup, that's always potential for a good hardest hit in the night because we're gonna have Malachi Black with his kicks, and
Yeah.
some of them just. I mean, he is a legitimate kickboxer. He does know martial arts to that level and that extent. So basically, if he kicked you in the face for real, you might as well be getting kicked in the face by like
Who knows
Anderson.
how to kick?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's going to be some hard hitting matches.
So we're gonna have that. We're gonna have your dream
Mm,
matchup.
yeah, on Friday. Oh yeah, the main event of the year: Jade versus Willow Nightingale. Prepare for me to only talk about that on Friday. Like, so this was another thing that happened before Jade and Willow, and then there was some things that happened after, but whatever.
It's gonna Friday show might be literally him telling me I have 5 minutes to speed through everything before the match, and then 5 minutes to wrap up everything after, and then come back to him so we could do a show recap, and he could talk more about Jade and Willow.
Yeah, because that's going to be the moment of I'm going to make the hardest hit out of that moment, out of that match for sure. Even if there's even if it's the worst match ever, I'm going to tell you that the hardest hit was from that match, just to bring it up again. Yep.
So now you know what to expect for Friday. Um, Depending on who else is out there, it's gonna be hard because he'll be sitting there talking about Jade and Willow, and I'll just be like, "But Kiera was at ringside."
Oh, yeah, that'll be hype, and she'll be at the ring on ringside. This is mm,
All right.
mm, mm, mm.
If the baddies are at ringside, which I would expect them to be, I need you all to interfere in this match as much as possible. Because one, you can make Willow look very, very strong by overcoming odds more and more to get close and close. But
Yeah.
also, I I've liked Red Velvet from the moment she stepped on the screen. I said, yeah, like, you can go back and find tweets that she has the it factor, like 100%. But yeah, once Kira came to the company, I was like, her, put her on my TV as much as possible, please and thank you.
Thank you, and please.
And it's dude, it's getting so hard because there's just so much excitement for every single show in this immediate future. Every Rampage, then the next Dynamite, then the next Rampage, then we get Forbidden Door. We are in the home stretch to Blood and Guts, which happens like 6 miles that way. Wait, that way. I can't wait.
So hype.
I need to get my Danhausen t-shirt.
I'm all
Oh,
set already.
are you sure? Because he still might not. Yeah, he's probably still not going to be around.
Hmm. Yeah. I don't know.
And you can still
Worst come to
represent him.
worst,
That's
I'll
what
get a
fandom
thong and
is.
just be a baddie.
I mean, it's not bad to still wear the scarf because as a fan, you still want to represent. Scales, what do you got one of? A scarf as well, or the Danhausen shirt? And which Danhausen shirt? I specifically am feeling like I'm going to want to get the Danhausen Orange Cassidy one. And also, when I place that order, I am putting in for the new Acclaim shirt. The Acclaim have arrived.
Yeah. The
You
one
have
that
the one that
looks
looks
like
like
CM
CM
Punk.
Punk.
Okay.
I'm not 100% sure familiar with
Have to
which
see
one
what
that
that
is. I'd
looks
have to
like.
look. I know I've seen a couple of the
Yeah.
ones recently that have been Hookhausen. and a couple of the other ones. I'd have to look for that one specifically, but yep, I'm totally getting the Orange Cassidy Danhausen one.
Is there an MJF one?
Yeah, there's that. Oh, a Danhausen MJF one? No, probably not. But MJF,
Oh,
I don't. That would
is there
actually
a
be
If there's a Danhausen baddies one, I'll get that.
so. MJF would be an interesting one. I could see them possibly being off of the website because he's listed off of the AEW roster, etc., right?
Yeah.
But their shirts go through Pro Wrestling Tees, not AEW. It's just kind of like the middle. That's the actual manufacturer. So
Oh, okay.
even if you can't go to AEW's website, I would guess that his personal one on Pro Wrestling Tees, because that's where a lot of the wrestlers that were on the independent scenes would set theirs up. I'm assuming he probably still has that. So should be possible to get an MJF shirt. It should never be impossible to get an MJF.
No, well, I want MJF Danhausen.
So basically, I need to go see if I can Photoshop a good Danhausen face on top of MJF's body with a scarf.
Yep.
I'm on it, and
Um,
I'll try. I'm gonna give it a legitimate shot to see if I can do it.
I I will I will rock that shirt on a regular basis.
And if I can make it and it looks halfway decent, like just as an image, any one of you that may be watching this or watch the VOD, because I have turned them on because I noticed our live reactions. I know it didn't save our live reactions from Double or Nothing, but VODs are on. But so if anyone's watching this now or anyone watches this later, keep an eye on the socials. And well, anyway, just keep an eye on the socials all the time, Discords, things like that. Let's have fun and talk wrestling, right?
Wrestling.
And love that Danhausen. Completely
Yeah, and
over
the
it.
baddies.
Scissor time, baby. Damn it, I fucked that up. Scissor
Scissor
party.
time. It's a scissor party, man.